Hi, Pete from Garblag Games here. Welcome to the first episode of our new series prepping the campaign, The Red Hand of Doom. This is a classic 3rd edition Dungeons & Dragons campaign, which I got my hands on a while ago off DriveThruRPG. For quite a while now, we've been running lots of small games, 6 to 8 episodes of a show. And one of the things that I've missed and some of our players have missed is a kind of slightly longer format show. So hopefully trying to do a bit of a longer campaign. I've been thinking about what I wanted it to be, and I wanted it to be fantasy. I wanted it to be Red Hand of Doom after picking up and having a look at it. And what I thought is I would go through how I'm prepping the first phase, the first part. Now, if any of my players are watching, then I suggest that you go away. And also, if you're going to watch the actual play and you don't want spoilers for what's going to happen, then also perhaps don't watch this show. If you are kind of like, oh, what does Pete plan and what actually happens? That's going to be an interesting angle on this. And what I want to do is a series of videos to talk about prepping the campaign and what that looks like. I'm, however, going to be running it in Heroic Deeds, which if you're new to our Discord or our channel, then you won't know what it is. And it's my role-playing game. This is the Quick Start rulebook, which is available right now for free on DriveThruRPG. So there will be some elements that will be specifically about things like how do I create these creatures in Heroic Deeds. But most of the prep, hopefully, will be more about the campaign, the adventure, and the contents therein. This is The Red Hand of Doom by Richard Baker and James Jacobs. Really cool, lots of good fun, and I'm not going to go through all the elements right now. You get the tactical maps that are given out. They're good maps, they're Mike Schley maps. I just want to create my own slightly different version of this campaign so that there's something different for other people who have seen Red Hand of Doom. My players won't know any difference because they've never played through the campaign, but also I have my own setting that's part of Heroic Deeds, which is known as the World Mountain, and it has a slightly different flavour, and I just want to kind of bring that to it. Now, this is the original map for Elsear Vale. It talks about the fact that it's not the Elsear Vale, which is the setting for Red Hand of Doom, is not in any particular setting, right? This is its own kind of bubble that you can kind of deploy into any other setting. And this is really cool. This whole thing, you can take this whole book, and if you wanted to, not just go through the main campaign, but you can have lots of adventures set in here. The beginning assumes that you've been doing lots of adventures already with your party. Fair enough. When this came out, loads of people had campaigns running. They had lots of adventures going on. Very good idea to come up with a bubble campaign that you can drop into multiple campaigns and go straight on to some big mega plot that you will then really enjoy. Really good product, really good idea, really nicely made. It's a good book, and if you're going to pick one up, I would suggest getting it. So I'm going to extend the beginning. I'm going to remake this map, but this map isn't important right now for my party, right? This is important when they start to think about the implications of the region. So I'm in the middle of remaking this map, so I won't be showing you this map right now, but I'm remaking this map with different place names, different features slightly, largely the same, right? And in my world, this will be called the Ember Vale, right? Because of the Emberblade family that runs Pargranin, which is my replacement for Denovar, which is over on the right hand side of the map. Drellin's Ferry will become Doric's Ferry, Vrath's Keep will become Volmat's Keep. So that this is kind of the small changes that I'm making to the naming of places, and this is what people do with modules and campaigns, right? They get them, they take them, you adjust them slightly, you stretch some of the roads this way to match your nations, and then you can carry on. So the map I create will look slightly different to this, and it's already, there's already slight differences, but largely it's going to be the same bits in the same places, because one of the key things in the story is the timeline, right? Now let's zoom out and go back over here. So one of the key things in the Red Hand of Doom storyline broadly is that there's a half dragon, half hobgoblin warlord, Azarkul, who, where is he? There's a picture of him. Here he is. Azarkul, commander of the Red Hand Horde. He has had enough of humans and dwarves and elves, and he has finally got the will and the power to take over all the tribes. He's found a temple to Tiamat. He's got some dragon powers, and he's like, right, I'm going to get everyone together and we're going to go and invade the human lands. And at the beginning, the whole first part of the story is the adventurers coming to the edge of civilization, as it were, and going out and discovering that this is going on. And then immediately after, there's an invasion, right? What I want to try and do is just have a little bit of time in the beginning for our players to get to know the heroic deeds rule set, have a few adventures, form those character bonds, that kind of thing. So it's going to follow the same beats, but the first bit is just going to be slightly stretched, I think. We'll see. Often I get very excited and I like to get the characters and the players into the interesting parts. So they're going to do a little bit more around the town at the beginning. So we'll talk about that, and I've gone into a bit more prep on the town so I can get it in my head a bit clearer, because I want to do a little bit with some of the interesting things that are mentioned there, and I'm going to add in some small adventures, little one-shot bits that will show off some of the rules of heroic deeds, also give the players some fun things to do before they then find the big, discover the big threat. But it's not going to be stretched much, but there's going to be a little bit. There are 5 parts to this campaign. The Witchwood, which is where they start to which is where in the Witchwood they start to figure out that there's weird stuff going on in the Witchwood. They go out and discover this keep, and in fact some of the scouts of the army are in the keep, including one of their commanders, and you take them out and find out that behind them and beyond the gorge is a big army waiting to invade. And then parts 2, 3, 4, 2 and 3 really are about finding allies and taking out commanders, exploring the local wilds, going to ruined cities, discovering elven people that you can try and win over. And then part 3, Ghost Lord's Tower, is going to deal with a lich. And then part 4, the enemy at the gates. The idea is this victory point system. Throughout the story, there are different little lieutenants. There are some people who aren't on either side, and you can get victory points for taking out commanders, doing certain activities, so that when you get to the enemy at the gates and there's a big battle, you can have tipped things one way or another. And then the 5th part is the Fane of Tiamat, which I haven't read too much into because I don't want to spoil it for myself in a way as well. Basically, even if part 4 doesn't go your way, you're in a situation where, haha, we've won the battle, let's go and kill the bad guy. Or, oh my god, the battle is about to be lost, our only hope is to take out the bad guy. So there's a kind of we're going to have a big battle, we've got to go to this temple. So we'll see. I'm not going to worry too much about that one right now, right? And I'm really going to concern myself with part 1, which is the Witchwood. Only prep what you need. Don't go too far ahead. That's the general message, right? So the adventure begins when the player characters confront a powerful warband of raiders threatening the small town of Drellin's Ferry. You've got this Wormlord Koth. There's a warband of hobgoblins and goblins lairs in the ruins of an old keep, buried in the dense witchwood, scouring out surrounding lands. In the course of their fight to drive off the marauders, they learn that the warband is just the tip of the spear. See, right? So by the end of this part, the war has begun. Right, so it could be quite quick, and they could kind of dart through the witchwood, but I'm gonna hopefully add in a few interesting elements. We'll see. We may just get excited and go on the journey. I'm not too worried if we do. So the other bit I wanted to talk about here, which is handily on the same page, is character hooks. Right, so they've got a bunch on here, but the main one, the assumption the book makes, is that the party at some point have found a map to a horde. In the horde of a monster they defeated, to the location of Wrath Keep, and hints at a hidden vault containing a great treasure. So the assumption is that the party are on their way to Drellin's Ferry because somewhere nearby is Wrath Keep, which there's, we're adventurers, we need to go and find treasure. There are a few other ones as well. Message delivery I've actually adopted as a second one, and in a way, in fact, I will show you. How about I read through so what I've done is I have created your party has been a little blurb, right? So your party has been on the road across the sworn lands of Pargranen for weeks, searching for Volmat's Keep, the Civil War, which is a part of my story, the wider story of the World Mountain, and maybe completely inconsequential to the players, but some of this is just for me as well. I'm playing this game, I need to have fun. The Civil War had less of a direct impact on these lands, but the people still felt the rationing and belt-tightening of a nation at war, albeit a distant war. As you've passed through grammar, the locals complain that the guards and militias of the area have been thinned, causing the roads to become more dangerous each year. Long before the war, Volmat Groundshaker, a light bearer of the Earthbound Order, again throwing in a bit of my World Mountain lore, he worshipped Ondrum, who is the mountain itself, made his way to the region to build a keep dedicated to Ondrum and begin an order of priests. The structure stood for many years, trading with the surrounding villages. One day communication stopped, and over time few people dared venture there. If an order of battle priests had been overrun, what chance would village militias have? The story goes that Volmat and his people were killed by a clan of giants twisted by Dark Verdance. Now, Dark Verdance is a perversion of the natural magic of the Verdance. And it creates like horrible monsters and creatures. And his ghost haunts the structure, waiting for a worthy claimant to find his treasure. What that treasure is, no one knows. Usual kind of thing. Haunted castle, big treasure, things that lure adventurers off to their death, right? This is what you want to kind of draw people in. The town of Doric's Ferry, just so we know it's not a regular Red Hand of Doom, is the furthest settlement along the old road before you reach the Wildwood, or head out along the long stretch past the Thorn Waste on your way to Erebag. The keep sits in the Wildwood, and Hisfix, one of the characters, has managed to get his hands on a map to the site. In order to earn a little coin and perhaps get on the right side of the town, I should say townsfolk, you have secured a simple job of delivering a message from Lady Carl, the merchant council leader of Brindol, to Serana Anita, leader of the town guard of Doric's Ferry. And that's one of those other hooks, right? I thought, if they're heading to town to go and plunder a keep, maybe they would want to have a job that gave them a slightly more legit and less mercenary appearance, right? Oh yeah, we're here to do a job for you. Now, when they get there, the people in the town, there's going to be things going on, and they're going to be asking them for their help to go and check out what's going on with these bandits in the local area. So will they go straight to the keep, or will they go and explore the nearby? I'm going to put in a farm location that's going to be the first place that they're asked to go, again, to give them that little bit extra experience at the beginning, get the party working together, fight some different kinds of monsters, and then after that we'll see how they go, whether they sort of get more into the story. The adventure begins on the road close to Doric's Ferry, which you'll reach around lunchtime, as long as there are no difficulties along the way. ... Cool. So I've given this to the players so that they're aware of the start, right? And they know kind of where they're going, why they're going there, and what they're going to do. So what the book assumes is that the first thing you do is have an encounter. And I really like this. Kind of the in media res kind of start where there's something going on. Almost your first request of the players is for them to roll initiative, and although it may it's not going to set the wrong tone because there's a big war going on, what it definitely does is gets people using their character straight away. They start to know their capabilities. If they're fresh to the table to this adventure, which they are in this case, then that can be a good place. If this was part of a longer adventure and you'd done lots of stuff before this and then you were going into it, you could potentially not put that in. But the point of this first encounter also is to give the players the understanding that there is danger in the area. The road is I'm not just saying the road is dangerous. You're going to have a fight. So this place is dangerous. So be prepared. So what I've figured out here, or my notes, is I'm going to have encounter 1, immediate res, combat to start with some excitement, get people used to some of the rules off the bat. And then what I also need, and basically this is like my list of what do I need to prep, right? They might finish that fight and go to the town. Yeah. They probably won't. When I play tested this with my patrons, so I'm going to make a slight tweak to the encounter. It took, bear in mind, because we're doing the actual play, we normally get two hours, right, for a session. So it's not a lot. So really, this would be like a whole session, a 4-hour session, where it's just you and your friends around the table, blah, 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 pretzels, Mountain Dew, whatever. I would prep all of this to think, right, they're going to have a fight, and then they're going to get to the town, they're going to go around, they're going to meet a few people I need to know, and then I need to have a couple of hooks for like, what's the next thing, right? You don't prep more than you have to. Only prep the next session or two, because players are chaotic, right? They will latch on to certain things you say. They'll explore things you weren't expecting. They'll turn left when you thought they were going to go right. So you don't want to lay out the whole track. You just want to give them the first few options, see where they go, and then prepare the next bit, and prepare the next bit, and prepare the next bit. Although this is a fairly, I wouldn't say railroady, because it's quite open and you can do lots of different things, and you can not do certain parts but do other parts, or do them differently. So you might defeat one bad guy but not another, so the first one doesn't turn up at the final battle but the second one does, that kind of thing. It's a campaign, right, though, so there's a goal, but how you get there is a moving path. But if you only prepare the next couple of sessions, then you give yourself a bit more scope to bend in the wind when you know which way the wind is blowing. I think that's everything for now. I think that's enough. We've gone over a very slight overview of Red Hand of Doom and the phases of the story, and how I'm focusing in on phase 1, the Witchwood, and then drilling down into the first couple of sessions, really keeping it to that and saying, what do I need to run this? I've had a look through the book. I've read some, you've got to have an idea of where it's going. But really only preparing for the immediate future so that the players have fun. I can then respond to what they're doing and what they want to do. And the story can go as we work it together. So yeah, hopefully you can join us for our actual play. It's going to be a lot of fun. And join me, Garblag Pete, on our next episode when I go through prepping for the first 2 sessions that I detailed earlier on, our first encounter and the starting town. See you then.